The Carolina Panthers just got hit with a devastating injury bomb right on the first day of training camp, and it completely alters the landscape for the Chicago Bears. Starting pass rusher Nick Scourton is officially out for the entire season with a torn ACL, leaving Carolina scrambled, desperate, and potentially hunting in the exact same free agent edge rusher market Chicago needs. Week 1 is suddenly looking like a full-blown chaotic nightmare for the Panthers and an absolute golden opportunity for Chicago. If you live and breathe Chicago football every single day, smash that like button, share this video, and hit subscribe right now so you never miss a moment of breakdown action. Can you even believe how fast the NFL offseason narrative can shift with just one single rep in practice? 1 minute, Carolina is riding high after winning their division and making a playoff run, feeling confident about their ascending young defense. The next minute, their key sophomore pass rusher Nick Scourton goes down in pain, and tests confirm every fan's worst nightmare with a complete knee ligament tear. That is 5 sacks and massive potential wiped off their defense before the season even takes off. They did bring in Jalen Phillips during the offseason, but nobody in NFL front offices believes they can just sit on their hands with zero depth behind him. They are going to start sniffing around aggressively for pass rush help, and that directly impacts Chicago. Think about the veteran free agent edge rushers sitting on the market right now. Guys like Jadeveon Clowney, who actually spent time in Carolina a couple of years back and could easily be convinced to return. Joey Bosa is out there, though reports suggest he is contemplating retirement, so who knows if Carolina could lure him in. Then you have heavy hitters like Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, Haason Reddick, and Kyle Van Noy who fit that 3-4 defensive front. Fox Sports reporter Greg Allman revealed that Carolina reacted instantly by signing Cam Gill, a guy who spent time with them previously and dominated the UFL with 10 sacks this year. But let us be honest, does signing a UFL standout keep them from going out and signing a big-name veteran like Von Miller? Absolutely not. Which brings up a massive strategic dilemma for Chicago's front office. Shouldn't Chicago be getting proactive here? If the Bears have been quietly eyeing one of these remaining veteran edge rushers, shouldn't they hurry up and accelerate their timeline before Carolina swipes them off the board? You do not make panic moves just because another team loses a player, but if you have legitimate concerns about your own defensive line depth, you better be having those urgent conversations in the war room right now. And then there is the obvious on-field reality that sends shockwaves through the schedule. Chicago opens the season against Carolina in Week 1. Nick Scourton was viewed as a rising star in their defense, and now he is off the field completely. But wait, it gets even crazier along their front line. Their starting offensive tackle Ikem Ekwonu is not going to be ready for the season opener as he recovers from surgery, which forced Carolina to bring in Rasheed Walker. On top of that, their star right tackle Taylor Moton is sidelined indefinitely while dealing with blood clots in his lungs. Nobody ever roots for injuries or terrifying health scares like lung blood clots, but from a purely cold football perspective, Carolina is entering Week 1 forced to start 2 brand new offensive tackles. Their right tackle is set to be Monroe Freeling, a rookie drafted out of Georgia who only started roughly 15 to 17 games in college. You are talking about a green rookie stepping into his very first NFL start against Chicago's pass rush scheme. When you evaluate the first few days of training camp rolling in, Chicago holds a massive initial advantage for Week 1. Which leads directly into our controversial question of the day. Here is what I want to ask everyone listening. Should Chicago immediately pull the trigger and sign a veteran edge rusher right now, or should they pass and stick with their current defensive line group? Drop a comment down below right now with your exact thoughts. Let's dive into some insane bold predictions flying around the fan base. People are shouting out that Caleb Williams is going to finish top 3 in MVP voting. Chicago will win back-to-back division titles for the first time since 2005 and 2006. The roster will stack at least 5 All-Pros. Austin Booker will explode for double-digit sacks, and the squad is going all the way to win the Super Bowl. If we have to rank those wild claims from most realistic to absolute fantasy, winning back-to-back division crowns or seeing Austin Booker notch 10-plus sacks feels the most grounded in reality. Caleb Williams crashing the top 3 MVP voting race would come right after that. Landing 5 All-Pros is extraordinarily difficult because voters rarely dish out that many selection slots to a single team, no matter how dominant they are. And obviously, winning a Lombardi Trophy is the ultimate mountain to climb in professional sports. But you have to love the passion and electric optimism pulsing through the fanbase right now. There is also a huge debate brewing around rookie receiver Xavier Thomas and how head coach Ben Johnson intends to unleash him in this upgraded offense. Some fans are wondering if Thomas is being groomed to take on a role similar to Jameson Williams, or if he could eventually replace a guy like DeAndre Swift down the road. Jameson Williams is a much more polished downfield receiver at this point, but Xavier Thomas brings a totally dynamic, Swiss Army knife element. You can slide him into the backfield, motion him across the formation, use him in the slot, send him deep, and let him dominate on special teams as a primary returner. He generates easy, explosive plays out of nowhere. He can absolutely fly, and while expecting him to be a full-time tailback in year 1 might be a stretch, his upside to break game-ending plays in year 1 and year 2 is off the charts. Looking at the trenches, where does Jonah Jackson sit among the top interior guards across the entire league? He comfortably lands in the top 10 discussion. He might not be in that transcendent, all-pro tier like Joe Thuney, but he is a powerhouse. Darnell Wright and Joe Thuney types set the gold standard, but Jonah Jackson stands as a rock-solid, high-caliber starter. When a player of Jackson's quality is your third-best defensive lineman, you know your trench depth is in fantastic shape to keep your quarterback clean and pave huge lanes in the running game. When you look across the entire defense for a surprise breakout candidate, keep your eye on Jervin Dexter. We have seen flashes of raw pass rush juice from him, but his consistency against the run needs a jump. He possesses every single physical tool required to transform into a dominant force. If he takes that massive leap from a decent rotational player into a 10-sack monster on the inside, this defense completely transforms. If the back 7 stays healthy and Austin Booker along with Montez Sweat combine for around 20 sacks, Chicago only needs a top 15 defense to go alongside what should easily be a top 5 offense. A top 5 offense paired with a middle-of-the-pack defense is a playoff guarantee and a legitimate contender for a postseason run. And finally, looking way ahead at early Super Bowl picks, the NFC feels wide open with a team like the Rams looking terrifyingly complete. Over in the AFC, the Houston C.J. Stroud era presents a legitimate threat with an unreal defense, while Baltimore is always lurking if Lamar Jackson peaks at the right time. Chicago is knocking on the door of something special, training camp is here, and football is officially back.